Welcome back to another episode of Steaming Pile with Lauren and Tucker. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Tucker.
And it's been a minute. Has it been 5 weeks, a month since we last talked about things?
Ooh, at least a month. It's probably, it's probably been more. Yeah, it has to have been more.
Oh,
probably
yeah,
two.
it has to, yeah, because I don't think we've recorded in the month of June at all.
Nope, or maybe once in May, but yeah, no, it's been close to 2 months.
Yeah, no, but it's good to be back.
Yes.
A lot has happened since then.
That's true.
Yeah. I moved, I got married, got a new laptop.
Nothing's happened to me.
You had 2,000 subscribers, which is a pretty big deal.
Oh, yeah, okay. Space of time. Well, okay, 2,000 subscribers, moving in with your now current husband. I don't know. Which one is... It's this one. It's the well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell me all about
Thank
it.
you.
Tell me about it. How is it?
It's good. It's really good. So we got married right in the height of cicada season, and we thankfully were far enough away from most of them that, to my knowledge, they weren't really in any pictures.
Mm-hmm.
But then our friends who got married the week after, or that weekend even, because we got married on a Monday, there were cicadas all over. So I feel like we we managed to evade the cicadas because they are everywhere here. Thankfully dying out. It's starting to pour and they're starting to die. But yeah, no, it was really cool because our immediate families were there, and then my best friend from kindergarten got to come up, which was cool. And it was really nice. Really basic. There was gardens nearby. We just did it outside, which for a while I was like, yeah, outdoor weddings are cool. And then I got to go to outdoor weddings where the weather's really unpredictable, and I'm like, why would anyone do that? Why would you take that risk?
Yeah. Especially in the height of
hot.
summer. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really hot. It was 90 some degrees. But in the shade, not terrible. It was near a lake, so there's a lot of breezeway going through. But man, out in the sun, there is a time limit to that.
Yeah, that seems unavoidable. Back up a second. Your best friend from kindergarten made it out?
Yes.
You still have a friend from kindergarten? My God.
Yeah.
Look at you go.
Yeah. I know,
Damn.
right? It's really cool. Yeah, she's really neat. She does her degree's in criminal justice, but right now she's doing a master's in costume design.
That's an interesting intersection.
I know, it's super cool. And she showed me some of the designs from her projects and stuff, and I'm just amazed by the ability for people to create textile vision and be this fabric with this fabric and be able to create a whole concept in the style. Because I think that's a really, well, not necessarily underappreciated. I think people, when they see design, they're like, oh, that's cool. But there are so many other details. She showed me a bunch of designs for this ballet project she was working on. And it was design stuff for the Nutcracker. And just being able to say, all right, Nutcracker's been done 7,000 times. What can you do differently to the costumes that makes it a different experience for people?
Right.
So that was really neat. But yeah.
Yeah, being a costume designer, I imagine, especially when you're not just putting things together that that you can access, but actually building things from scratch. The amount of because that's a physical art form that has to apply in so many different settings.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's actually really cool.
And for the ballet stuff, because I'm designing costumes is one thing, but then you have to figure out what their function is supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And it's these are dancers, so they need costumes that they can get in and out of, but will withstand, hundreds of performances and will allow for the freedom of movement.
Yeah.
So I'm wait, does that mean there are fabrics you can and can't use? And she's actually had free reign. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just something I guess about every bit of clothing you wear that just you don't really think about. Someone had to design it. Obviously, effort is put into clothing in an equal fashion, but unequal, which one's the right one there? unequal fashion.
Unequal, I think.
The attention, the effort put
Wait,
in it.
no.
There is an inequality in it, but it is
It's
unequal.
inequality, yeah.
I've been speaking the language for 25 years. Why should I know? But, yeah, no, but there's some really impressive, just clothing in general. I don't want to like be too specific because it all is very, very impressive.
Yeah, it was honestly one of the highlights of Cruella. I took my brother and sister to see it while they were in town. And when I heard that the movie was being branded as a Devil Wears Prada meets Joker, I knew I had to buy like 5,000 tickets to see it.
Did you see it? Was it good?
I would give it like a 6 out of 10. It honestly should have gone off the rails more. Because there'd be some moments that are just so funny. Like 3 Dalmatians physically push her mother off a cliff.
Nice.
And it's one of the funniest things. And so when she meets like Horace and Jasper, you know, she's just this little 11-year-old and they're like, oh, what brings you to London? And she's like, I killed my mother. I'm like, that's hilarious. Commit to that.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
And the whole time my sister and I are leaning across each other going like, gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. And we would just tick that box whenever moments like that happen.
Is that a meme? Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss? I've heard that a couple times now. I'm unfamiliar with the meme, or at least like the actual meme.
So for some reason there became this moniker girl boss, you know, because all women in corporate office are just girl bosses. They're just doing their thing.
Of course.
I think the term may have been coined by Sophia Amoruso, who founded Nasty Gal, because she wrote like a memoir about going from being homeless to being, you know, like a super successful designer. And so basically anytime a woman was in a position of authority, she was considered a girl boss because she was, you know, shattering glass ceilings, whatever. As these female-led companies started to fail in their missions of being like inclusive, supportive, healthy work environments. No. It became something of a meme to call people girl boss because it was like all of the authority, but none of the progressive ideals that they wanted these women to have, because turns out women aren't inherently just like these super soft, like beautiful, nurturing beings. You put them in a situation where there's a potential to corrupt, they will.
Yeah.
And so Girl Boss kind of spiraled out from there, you know, to where we'd have like more female drone pilots or more female dictators. And so then the girl boss thing became like a negative thing. And then they added in the gaslight gatekeep. I don't know where gaslight gatekeep came from, but I think there's an inverse that's manipulate, mansplain, male wife. And my favorite variant of those two is they had the manipulate, mansplain, male wife, the gaslight gatekeep girl boss, over a picture of John Lennon and Yoko Ono. Which, like, I'll defend them for being annoying, but gosh, sometimes things like that are accurate.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh man. Yeah. Okay. So it's me. This is good to know. Sometimes I'm not up to date on the current memery. You know, I try.
You do a pretty good job. They come too fast though. And once you leave like the big social media where it all happens, you just kind of like pick up the scraps as they come to the Instagram Explore page or to whatever subreddit you cling to. So
yeah. No, I don't know. I guess that's true. Is it fair to say that all memes are born on social media?
Probably, given that's the way it has to be shared.
Okay. Then it would stand to reason that if you remove yourself from that, you remove yourself from the spiciest memes.
Potentially, unless there are organic within your own friend group. I suppose one example of a meme that was shared just through real life, and it happens to be a Beatles example because it's the one I have ready. But back in like 1964, while they were still touring, George mentioned offhand once that he liked Jelly Babies and that he once had a bag and Paul stole some from him.
Mm-hmm.
So at their next concert, you could think of it as the meme being George likes Jelly Babies. That is the meme. So they go up to play and they get bombarded with jelly beans from like the first few rows, the whole stadium, to the point where he has to be like, stop, I don't like them anymore. Don't give them to me.
That's okay. Memes. My special memes. I let them go. I didn't know they'd stolen my meme. Anyway, no, it's that. Okay, so maybe not most memes, not all memes are born in social media. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because, I mean, the term meme was coined by Richard Dawkins, of all people. Because it's just, like, a thing that spreads maybe organically and doesn't have, like, any known life cycle. It just keeps going.
Right.
So it makes me wonder what kind of memes they were experiencing in, 1971.
1971 memes. I guess you had to be there. The 70s.
I can only imagine like the Watergate memes that would have
my god.
The number of memes that would have happened when like Ronald Reagan was shot. Those would have gotten real spicy real fast.
That would have been that would have been some good meme fodder.
Yeah.
Do you think I guess I've seen a couple, but I'm surprised it's not more popular. Going back and making retroactive memes. Retroactively memeing things and,
Yeah, well, I mean, jet fuel can't melt steel beams. There are tons of memes about 9/11.
That's true. And I don't know, because I'm not very good with timelines. So yeah, memes, and I guess pretty much social media in general, not around when the towers fell. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I don't even know if MySpace was around in 2001. I'm sure the people who were on hypothetical MySpace in 2001 just love that we're trying to guess if it was around or not.
Was it? When did Facebook come about?
2005? Because the social network came out in 2010, and that was at the 5-year mark.
So MySpace launch date is
1998.
Is that your guess?
Yes.
August 2003.
Okay, 2003 was my other guess, and I was like, there's no way it came out just 2 years before Facebook.
And you're sure Facebook is 2005? Facebook launch date. I'll look anyway, because it was an automatic suggestion. February 4th, 2004.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Mark Zuckerberg is a weird-looking fella. Anyway.
He is, yeah. Because, like, you look at Jesse Eisenberg and you're like, wow, that's a weird-looking dude. And then you realize, no, that's the Hollywood good version of Mark Zuckerberg. They're doing Mark favors.
They really are.
And it's a tragic thing because Mark Zuckerberg, and honestly, I think Prince William fall into the same category of looking okay in their early 20s, of, like, passably normal Wonder Bread type guys, and then they turn 30 and it's like, I have so much money it doesn't matter what I look like anymore, and billions of dollars at their disposal, and they look like that.
Hey, we can't all be Steve Ballmers.
Steve Ballmers. Who is that?
Steve Ballmer is, he was, wasn't he the CEO of Microsoft at one point?
Maybe.
He was high up in Microsoft. He probably still is high up in Microsoft. He's not the CEO anymore. The CEO is, I think it's a guy named Satya, but I don't remember his full name. Steve, he's the guy who got up on stage at, one of the Windows developers conferences, and he just started losing his mind. He was sweating through his shirt, and he just kept saying, developers.
Okay, yeah, no.
He's a character. Yeah, he was the CEO from 2000 to 2014. And he owns the Clippers. Huh.
Disney Channel coach looks like this man.
Yep.
This man wears a whistle around his school-colored polo and teaches children about dodgeball.
The guy who played Hank Schrader is going to play him in his biopic one day. Calling it now.
Guarantee it. That's
Calling
so
it now.
accurate. Yeah. I saw the guy who played Hank Schrader in the show Girlboss, because I was watching a video about girl bosses, so that's what led me down this whole stupid rabbit hole. And there was a show about Sophia Amoruso, and I'm like, I'm not going to like this, but I'm going to watch it. And then, yeah, Hank Schrader plays her dad. And it threw me off.
What's his name? Dean Norris. Probably stop calling him Hank Schrader.
I don't know, though, because he's doing cameos where he says Walt is a sussy baka. So.
Oh, God. I don't want to... I saw that video and I'm like, oh, boy. Oh, boy. Here's another meme.
I simultaneously love and hate stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, it makes me so happy. Because I've realized that my capacity for cringe is really high.
Mm-hmm.
And so stuff like that, I probably do cringe physically, but I can still watch it. It's still something I can participate in, and it's so fun sometimes.
Yep. Proving that anyone will do anything for money.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
Man, oh, man. Just another meme I've missed out on. I don't feel bad about missing that one, though. That one seems... I can live without that meme.
Amogus memes or the
Amogus
Sussy
memes.
Baka?
Well, yeah, I mean, I assume that's a meme of that genre. Yeah.
Yeah, well, because Baka is Japanese, so I think there's some anime memes working alongside it.
Oh, boy. Oh, look who it is.
Yeah.
What's up, cat? How's it going? I see ya. How are they adjusting to the new place?
Oh, they love it.
Yeah?
Yeah, every morning Milkshake gets up and she pushes through the vertical blinds and just boxes the window to the porch. Juno immediately sat under the window and surveyed all that she could see.
Good. As a queen should.
Yes, yeah. She's ventured out once, but I think she saw that it was a different hallway littered with corpses, and she's like, all right, I'm going to go back inside.
Littered with corpses? Of what?
Cicadas.
Ah, that kind of, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'd be lucky. Some cats would probably consider that food.
Oh, yeah. No, my aunt's cats were having a field day just eating whatever cicadas made it to the ground.
Cicadas, it's every 7 years with cicadas, right?
It depends. With the brood that's been screaming this summer, it was a 17-year loop. But I think some of them are 7 years. Some of them might be 3 or 5.
That's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
To be dormant for that long. And then all of you, all at once, just go, it's time to go.
Yes.
It's, yeah, I don't know. Cicadas are... I'm pretty sure... I hear cicadas, and I guess I haven't heard them yet this year, but there's always some outside my window over here. They're so goddamn loud. They're so loud. Oh, it's so annoying.
Loud. And they just leave the little crusty pieces of them behind. I remembered having like trees just lined with those things.
Oh yeah. We didn't get too many cicadas down in St. Louis, but when we did, I would find a couple like a full whatchamacallit, full exoskeletons, molted exoskeletons. I was like,
yeah.
I was so proud of myself for like being able to pick it off the tree and it not break. It's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some very gross but very interesting like statues made out of like molted exoskeletons.
Oh dear.
I want to say on like r/boss fight or something. It's just concerning where I'm like, I don't like to think of that in a space where I live. Yeah.
It's a revolting amount of biomass.
Yeah. It's bad enough I have to deal with like my own dead cells just everywhere. Just bug exoskeletons, it just makes my jaw crispy. I don't want it in my house.
I get that. I feel that. I agree. Yeah. I don't even like live bugs in my house. I swear one day I saw a brown recluse. No one believes me. It was right on the wall. I'm looking right at the spot where I saw it,
no.
and I saw him, and I'm like, "Hey, bud, what are you doing?" And brown recluses, they're pretty chill spiders unless you piss them off, and they'll kill you. But you're looking at it, it crawls, and it's like, all right, we have this understanding. And then it disappeared, and I never saw him again, and that's a little unnerving because it's been about a year and a half, and I haven't seen him since.
Oh no!
And there's this huge rat's nest of wires that he could just be chilling in.
No.
You never, you don't know until it's too late. If he wants to patrol the area, any spider, if we keep our distance, take care of the bugs for me. I'll let you just chill in here, rent free, no questions asked. Let's just not cross paths. I'm not afraid of spiders, but I'd just rather not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm getting used to one. There's one right between like the screen and my window. Real big boy, real delicate handiwork that he's doing. Those things are fast. Yeah. He'll just be going up and down this little elevator that he made, just taking his like lunch with him everywhere. He wrapped up a bug and just keeps going. Cool. And I'm like, if I open the window to deal with it, I'm not guaranteed to win. So we're just gonna let him do his thing. It poured. Maybe the water was a detriment. Hopefully.
Yeah. Spiders are our friends, but still, yikes.
They can be my friends outside.
That's exactly.
We don't know each other like that. They don't get to come in.
Exactly. If outside is so great, why are all the bugs trying to get inside? I think Jim Gaffigan said that.
Yeah, that sounds like something he would say.
He's what you would call indoorsy.
Yes.
Oh, have you...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right. Have you seen Bo Burnham's Inside yet?
I haven't.
You are incorrect. You need to see it.
I know. Yeah, because I've heard only good things about it.
That's because that's all that's been said.
Yeah.
It's by far the best thing on Netflix. Calling it a comedy special is reductive, so it's just But now I can't talk about it because you haven't seen it because you live under a rock. Thanks, Lauren. Great.
Sorry, I've been busy watching.
Oh my God.
The Righteous Gemstones.
Oh, excuse me. The Righteous Gemstones. What even is that?
It's one of Danny McBride's shows. I've fallen down his rabbit hole, and
oh boy,
that sounded way dirtier than it was meant to. But anyway, I know that Bo Burnham has like a lot of good things in the special from like White Woman's Instagram. There was another song that was really popular, and people I watched were doing covers of it immediately.
Yep, they're all. I can't even begin to like. They're all great. Watch it.
I will watch it, and that'll be the first thing we talk about next time.
Okay, all right. I want to write it down so I. Okay, all right. It's written. It's written in pencil, but still, it's written.
That's legally binding. I'm pretty sure.
That's true. That's true. It would hold up in any court in the land. Well, now I don't have anything to talk about because you haven't seen it. Lauren.
I'm on it. I know. But Bo Burnham is a really cool figure.
Yes.
I remember the first time I'd watched like his first Netflix, or no, the one that's on YouTube, the free one.
Yeah.
And just being, he was definitely one of those figures that I was like, he's so young, so I could do exactly what he's doing, no problem. And then I started passing age milestones that he had already hit and done stuff with, and I was like, maybe not, but good for him.
Yeah.
Because getting to direct a movie that he had written, like, that's huge. That's exactly where I would have wanted to be by the time I was 26.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I've been a Bo Burnham simp for years now, and yeah. I don't know. It's very. I don't know. Inspiring is not the right word, but it's just very interesting because it seems like because I guess I found him in middle school, right? That when he was doing like the whole my whole family thinks I'm gay, the other ones, the names are escaping me, but I can think of the tunes. Ironic, that's a good one. Anyway, so when he was doing that, And as his comedy has progressed, and so has like my sense of humor. So like it really does feel like, because he started so young and because I found him so young, I don't know, that's something that is afforded to very few comedians and audiences.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of relationship, which obviously, if you've seen any of his work, including the most recent stuff, he detests. But like, it's still, being on the other side of it, whatever.
Yeah.
I'll consume it. I'm a media whore, and how? But it just, so because most of the comedians that I like are, not young, so it's a completely different experience, I guess.
Mm-hmm. That's been a thing about watching stand-up comedians that I wasn't prepared to experience, of watching people who would be talking about things relevant to my experiences within 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because Bo, I don't think, is 30 yet, and so
No,
a lot of the humor.
He is 30. You would know that if you watched the special, Lauren.
Well, okay then. I try to keep a running Rolodex of every celebrity I have ever witnessed and keep track of their birthdays and approximate years they were born in.
Okay. All right. I'm just saying.
So many things I gotta watch, but I'm trying to get through it. I'm trying to get through the stuff, because it took forever to like watch Castlevania season 4. Finally got through that. But yeah, no, the comedians like Taylor Tomlinson, who's 26 at this point, I think. It was weird to hear her talk about experiences that I'm like, oh, that's the thing I actually understand.
Yeah.
And it's certainly a different experience than watching someone, who's married with kids in a house. And it's a totally different perspective.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's fair that you haven't been like, watching things vigorously. I mean, you've been moving and you've been busy. You've been a busy bee.
That was a feeling that hit today, because, and my husband even had to point this out, that like I was just so drained from work that I'm just sitting there for an hour not doing anything, and then this panic and dread of why am I not doing anything started to sink in. It's like, there's stuff I want to learn to advance my life and I'm not doing it, and so many options and I do none of them, and it freaked me out.
You need a vacation.
Yeah, that'd be cool though. That's the thing, is when the only time you take off is to move or to get settled into a new place.
Yeah.
Or married. It's like, it's not even time off. It's
Exactly.
just so I don't have to work 8 hours before doing those things.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's I don't know if that's. I get you would have done that regardless of whether you would be working from home or not. But even still, I can't help but feel like working from home kind of blends together. Like, if you're taking off work, it's for a reason, because every day is kind of like a you're not coming into work even though you are working, or 8 hours, give or plus 5. So like it.
Oh gosh.
No, but it's
definitely take 5. I never give 5 extra hours.
Yeah, no, that's a hard pass on that. No, I've definitely, again, my productivity is still still on a low point, but I'm never going back to the office. It's just not happening. Sorry guys, but
yeah. No, and I still don't get it. This is one of the first things we ever talked about. I don't get people who make work their life.
Yeah.
When I get emails from people at like 10 in the evening, I'm like, stop.
Mm-hmm.
Stop working.
Yeah. Some people work to live and some people live to work.
Yeah. And, it's because my job was willing to move with me and let me continue to work remote. I want to at least give them, like 2 more good years.
Yeah.
But also I looked up what like front end developers make, and I'm like, oh, I'm learning HTML and CSS to now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, because if I don't want to take a management position in the job I'm currently at, that to me says I need to do something different to get out of this job.
Sure. That makes sense.
Because otherwise, you're just spinning your wheels and you're not doing anything else.
Right.
And there's only so many like senior titles they can give you before it's like, but do you want to be a director? No. I see what directors do and I don't want to do that. I'd get into meetings and be like, wow, there's a lot of stuff to do. Like, do it if you want, don't do it if you don't. Whatever.
Yeah. That does not sound like director material.
No.
So you're learning front-end development. That's a good skill.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a very good skill.
Yeah. I've thankfully my husband kept a lot of his books from college because he did CPE with a minor in CS. And so I'm able to start digging into the HTML and the JavaScript and the Node.js. And
yeah. Front-end development, boy, that's a rabbit hole. That just, it moves so fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like it feels like best practices are changing daily. And if you're not on the cutting edge, then you're a bad developer, which is such a toxic mindset.
Yes.
It's so bad. And that's, I mean, I haven't touched front-end development in years just because I don't want to deal with that. But I think if you divorce yourself from the notion that, you know, you can only, not so much that you can only make some of the people happy some of the time, but more like you can only follow some of the best practices some of the time.
Yeah, it's best practices are like fashion. We have to find the style of the best practices.
Exactly. It's an art. It's software. Nothing's sacred.
No.
Yeah.
No. And so learning to start things from the ground up, because I at least have I can read certain kinds of code and be like, I know what you're doing here. I couldn't generate it myself, but I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And starting from that, and then having the piece of advice to watch a tutorial and then never watch a tutorial after that. Try to recreate what you learn in the tutorial, but with Stack Overflow. And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. And no matter how professional you get, you will never leave Stack Overflow, but it'll always hold your hand.
Yep. Stack Overflow is always down. You could always call them. They never deleted your number.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Because I came to the realization that if I wanted out of my job, I couldn't transition into something that was like arts or writing or that kind of base, more of the like soft skills type deal. Because there are people who've been training their entire lives for that, have been doing that regardless of what position they've worked. And it wouldn't feel right to take a job in that field when there are people in that field who want a job.
Well, two things, right? One, even though it's not, you know, it's, first off, it's not a meritocracy. That entire industry, I mean, it helps, but it's not like, it's all about who you know. And second,
nepotism.
I don't know if there can ever be too many of those kinds of people. It's not like there is a fixed number. It's not like you're taking a job from someone who has trained all their life for that. First off, who cares? If you get it and they don't, I mean, it sucks for them, but it's capitalism, baby. Second, there's no cap on it. There's no upper limit on that sort of thing, on the number of, say, writers there are. There's so many writers.
Oh, so no, I would never stop writing, even though I've not started writing in like 8 months. But yeah. Yeah.
No, so don't let that let that, like, oh, I'm not a writer, so I will never be a writer, stop you. Because, I mean, you're not professionally a writer, but you are a writer. You're not professionally an editor, but you are an editor, right? So just don't, even if that's not something that you are like seriously considering, it's not something you should seriously discount either.
I think that's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one else listens to my life advice, so
I'll listen to this piece at least.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how are we going to dig the show out of this hole? I've been drinking a lot of smoothies recently. I recently got a smoothie blender. I'm addicted.
Ooh.
I have a problem. Please send help. They're so good.
Okay. Yeah. How are you dealing with like cleanup fatigue? Have you hit cleanup fatigue where you make a smoothie and every single time you have to wash it out?
Well, okay, so I have a smoothie blender, right? And the gimmick is that once you make the smoothie, you rinse out the cup, then you fill it up with water, and then you blend the water, and it's basically clean enough for the next use.
Okay, so it's like one of those magic bullet type deals.
Exactly, it is exactly one of those.
Gotcha.
And it just makes it because it makes one smoothie, which is great because I'm one person. And even though sometimes I would like two smoothies, that's always too much because it's like you put half a banana in there, but then some other crap, and But yeah, so like, but it's just they're just so good. They're so easy to make, and what I found is that they're so cheap to make. You buy a smoothie from somewhere, and it's like, yeah, okay, I'll pay $4 for a smoothie, but really, I when I got the smoothie thing, I was so excited that I went out that night and got food for just the whole thing. Bananas, some frozen fruits. I got a thing of oats and some honey and some vanilla, and a half gallon of milk, and it all came out to like $15. And I think I got like 5 smoothies out of that many, out of that ingredients, and I was just limited by the bananas. I still had leftover of everything else. It's like the perfect food. It's so tasty, and you can do it however you want.
Yeah.
It can be as healthy or as unhealthy as you want. It's so versatile, and I think if I were doing this in a full blender, I would not be into it at all, because you're right. Cleanup fatigue is real. That's what I mean, and I cook dinner every night, and trust me, yikes. I know.
Every night?
Yeah, well, yes, every night I try to. I think I might support local business once a week, maybe. But yeah, no, I generally cook every night. And granted, it's also primarily pasta. Shush, no one cares. But but like it's still like, I don't buy dishware that isn't dishwasher safe for this very reason.
Yeah.
You just washing things by hand. When things are baked on, I put it through the dishwasher first just to see if it'll do it.
Yeah.
I can hand wash it if it doesn't work out.
Yeah. Yeah. No, because I don't know. I figured, at least when I lived by myself, I would try to make something that I could have, for the next 3 or 4 meals as well. Mm-hmm. Because, like, when I first moved, I was cooking every night. But then eventually I was like, but I want to be totally done with all food consumption by 5:20 after clocking out at 5.
Sure. Yeah. And I guess that's the other problem, too. I generally, and I guess now that I'm drinking smoothies, this doesn't truly count, but I only eat 1 meal a day, and that's dinner. So I usually have a very large dinner, so I generally don't have any leftovers. And this is also my problem with snacks. Any snack in any size turns into a 1-serving snack for me. So I generally what's the word I'm thinking of? I generally cook a big dinner and I eat the entire thing, so I never have leftovers. And I've toyed with the idea of meal prep, which sounds like a more intense version of what you're doing. Would you consider what you do meal prep?
Yeah, I mean, we don't necessarily cook everything we're going to eat for the week in one day, but we do sit down usually on Saturday and say, okay, what are we having next week?
Okay,
and
yeah.
Usually make enough so that we have lunch for the next day and maybe the day after that.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Ideally, we're cooking 3 nights a week.
Okay, that's not terrible. I plan everything out, but it always ends up that leftovers are rare, and that's fine because I don't eat lunch.
Yeah.
So whether that has a positive or negative effect on my health, that remains to be seen. I've only been doing it for a year, but here's the thing.
Some people call that intermittent fasting and claim you're just absolutely crushing it. So
I mean, I guess, and I have lost a little bit of weight as a result of it. But it like it plateaued. I'm not losing any more weight. But I have also noticed that ever since I've started drinking smoothies as a lunch, my I guess I've been waking up better. I don't know if that's a coincidence. Because I'm horrible at waking up. I'm absolutely terrible at waking up. And working from home has not helped because my commute is 5 seconds down the hall.
Yeah.
But like it might be a coincidence, but it might not.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Because it may be the smoothies have unlocked other mitigating factors that make getting up easier, where you're like, what smoothie shall I have today? But yeah, it may be that you're adding more fruits into your diet than you typically have.
That's true. Because fruits aren't often a component of dinner. It's usually protein and vegetable.
Mm-hmm.
That could be it. Food groups. Food, is it still a pyramid? I know they changed the sections, but is it still...
I want to say fruits are like the second band down. Because like there's still technically a ton of natural sugars in them. But like they're good for you. I've come to really enjoy bananas.
Oh yeah, bananas are great.
Because bananas on toast with peanut butter and you sprinkle a little cinnamon on the top, the best.
Let's see, I'm looking at the... Okay, so it is still a pyramid. Okay. Oh, and then they changed it to a plate.
Yeah.
That's sad. I like the pyramid. The plate's just kind of boring. The pyramid is cool. The pyramid was weird looking. The pyramid had off-center... And it's very interesting that... God, they really pushed the bread and cereal, rice and pasta group.
I know.
Looking back, that's very strange.
Rice is amazing.
Yes.
There were several weeks while I was still living on my own that I would get like those Trader Joe's Jaipur vegetables or whatever. Because you just stick them in a microwave for a minute.
Yeah.
And for me, that was 2 meals. You get rice, you get like the tiny little toaster naans from Kroger. You stick those in, then you're cold. It's perfect.
It sounds good.
Yeah.
But rice is just nothing but carbohydrates. So why are they pushing it so hard? Or why were they, I guess? I guess now they're not. It's not like this isn't new information. We always knew that rice was very carb heavy.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because it's seen as like a healthier carb, perhaps.
Healthier than bread?
White bread? Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah, because I don't know. Entire cultures eat rice and they don't have America's health problems.
Well, I mean, America's health problems are not likely the result of carbohydrates.
No, it's the result of corn syrup.
Yep. Sure is. Think about I was on the road yesterday, 2 days ago, with Wesley, and we saw a corn harvester, and we got to talking about how much corn there is. Think about how much corn must exist.
So much.
And it just... Okay, and then I just had this thought. Think about how much rice there must be. How inefficient it is to grow rice. Like rice, the plant, and then a little bit of rice at the top. And how much rice, and how cheap rice is, and how cheap corn is. And soy isn't as big, but still... Yeah, that's so much corn. It's so much corn. It's
there's a ton of corn. And I want to say it was Nixon. It's his fault for some reason. But yeah, so they switched from cane sugar to corn syrup, which made things way worse. Mm-hmm. And we basically outsourced our obesity problem to like surrounding countries. Like smaller islands. Well, like smaller islands that don't necessarily have a choice in what products they have.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
So they just got dumped with a bunch of like American products that are stuffed full of corn syrup. It was just a huge problem. Yeah. Because your cane sugar, it's not that bad. And honestly, you can still get bottles of, I think it's Coke that's made in Mexico. And it still uses cane sugar. And it honestly tastes a lot better.
It does. Yes.
Because it's not as sticky.
Yeah.
Like, Coke from a fountain tastes fine because it doesn't have that sticky, but like bottled regular Coke just has this weird sticky aftertaste.
100%. Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I agree completely. But corn syrup is just so much cheaper, and it is the same effect as sugar. You just sweeten it. You just have to sweeten it.
We had a family friend who was allergic to corn.
Oh boy.
Which meant no high fructose corn syrup.
Yep.
No regular fructose corn syrup. So even if something advertised as being no high fructose corn syrup may still not be good.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, no corn tortillas, that's no regular corn, no cornbread, no. So yeah, if things used cornmeal, that was out.
Mm-hmm. That's almost everything. So many things use corn.
Yep.
And then you gotta think of the corn that we don't eat. Like animal feed.
Oh yeah. Took me a second to realize what you meant by the corn we don't eat. It's like
which is most of the corn, right? Or I guess most of the corn that we eat isn't actually corn. It's heavily processed corn.
Yeah.
Like, think about how often you eat corn on the cob, like an actual corn cob, right? And then go a layer down. How often you eat corn kernels, maybe out of a can. I don't know how else you would get it. And then go another layer down. Corn syrup. And then I guess the next layer down would be animals that were fed the corn. So much corn.
Yeah.
So much.
Because like corn on the cob, I have not had since I lived in Illinois even.
Wow.
Because my dad would grow it out in our backyard.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's like the peak way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't grow things in our garden, like there's stupid zoning laws.
Mm.
But yeah, like that, and then corn from like frozen corn I use in like burrito bowls when I make those.
Mm.
And then corn syrup all the time.
Can't escape it. You can't.
Cane sugar. Escaped
it
for this.
No, what is that?
This is the Shell House Sparkling Hard Seltzer.
Okay. I imagine that would be really disgusting with corn syrup.
Yes.
I feel like they used cane sugar out of necessity and nothing else.
Yeah. But, you know, we still have so much leftover Gatorade from when we moved. So I imagine that had corn syrup in it that I had earlier today.
Mm. Did you get the Gatorade specifically for the effort of moving?
Yes.
Yeah. You want to move as few times as possible. It's the last week and a half, or last half week, and I guess partially over the weekend, I moved out of my parents' house for the third time. Basically every time has been, you know, partially. This time they're actually going to sell a house, so I took the rest of the things and put it in storage. Yeah. And I did it with I did it. No movers. I had a little bit of help, and it was just brutal, absolutely brutal. And I was also like 104 degrees on Friday, but
yeah,
you know, but you moved everything. And that's brutal. That sucks.
Yeah. And
Oof.
Thankfully, my brother and my brother-in-law both are like very active. Like my brother benches stuff all the time. My brother-in-law's in like ROTC. So they would just like easily move stuff up and down the stairs. Mm-hmm. And they loved lifting with each other because it meant that their respective dads could not tell them what to do. And so they could lift it however they wanted.
There you go. Yes. It's always nice when you make someone else do the work, do the heavy lifting.
Yeah. And yeah, that was the thing. So hopefully, because my husband's moved like every year, both before he graduated and after, just because of like shifting roommate situations. And this is the second time I've moved in 2 years, because I was at my old apartment for 2 years. And we're hoping that we can just be here for at least 3 years.
That would be good.
Yeah. And then after that, get a house if all the banks don't buy them first.
I don't know. Yeah, houses are pretty expensive.
Yes.
There's some garbage houses going for just incredible amount of money.
Yeah.
It's a good time to sell a house. It's a really good time to sell a house. It's not a great time to buy a house.
Potentially. It's potentially a good time to sell if the appraisers are on your side and things. Because when my parents sold the house that I grew up in, and we had lived there for 20 years, they bought the house when it cost like $120,000, I think. And it didn't increase in value all that much.
Really?
Yeah. And especially by the time they got it to the point that the seller was like, yes, we can put this on market, it was essentially like a net zero. Because they're like, well, you need to finish the basement, and you need to level this out, you need to fix the porch, and you need to do this, that, and the other. But yeah, I follow like a bunch of house pages, especially like older houses.
Yeah.
And those range anywhere from like $15,000 because they're in the middle of nowhere and they have no wiring in the middle. And you basically have to pay, the $110,000 to make it a livable space. So it's closer to $130,000. Or, it'll be $2.5 million and it's just this little tiny thing in Dallas.
Yeah. Yeah, which is probably somewhere you wouldn't want to live anyway. But
no.
But yeah, no, the housing market's insane. I don't know, we were due for another 2008, I suppose, overdue.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. Which makes, because it's like, yeah, let the banks fall. And then I'm like, oh, I have money in a bank. I kind of need them to stay.
We need the banks more than they need us. Which is a shame.
Yeah.
That's why you should
I've
belong
heard
to a
some
credit
people.
union.
I was about to say, it's like, that's why you put your money in a credit union.
Yep.
Frick.
Yep. I do not have a bank. I have a credit union, which is a problem because it's in St. Louis. But whatever. I've been able to make it this far.
Yeah, as long as you can update your address cleanly.
I've updated my address like 5 times in their system, and I verified it. And they keep sending me emails occasionally like, hey, we don't have a valid address for you. And I'm like, dude, I know you do. I get your mail.
Yeah. No, I had to update. I had to update mine.
Oh, yeah, it's the other thing moving. All the administrivia.
Yes.
Oh.
Right now, I'm in a race against the court system to get my marriage certificate so I can get my name changed before I get my driver's license and register my car.
And what is the...
There's 60 days between when I move to the state that I have to get like the license and registration done.
Oh, okay.
But it should be fine. I'd like to think that it'd be easy, but...
No, it's a government bureaucracy. You can't put a lot of faith in that.
I have no faith in bureaucracy at all. None at all. It's what keeps me from being a socialist, because it's like, no, I see what they do with what they have. They don't deserve more. They have not proven themselves faithful with what they've got. No, thank you.
Yeah, no. Well, that's... Is that would you rather move or go through all of the administrivia you're going through? You had to pick one. Which one's worse?
Oh, well, I mean, at least right now the administrative stuff is just waiting. Okay. Like, yes, it's a headache, but there's also something really satisfying about unpacking things and building a feel for how you want a space to be.
Okay.
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only ask the hard questions.
It's interesting as it delves into a person's deepest desires as well as their fears.
Which part?
Oh, the question. Like, would you rather move or go through, bureaucratic administration hell?
I didn't mean for it to be that deep, but okay. Since we're here.
I mean, it's like, physical taxation, but, the relief of a tangible job well done by the end of the day.
Sure.
Or esoteric waiting on, low-level bureaucrats to handle your paperwork, and the clock is ticking.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying now.
If I ever portrayed like hell in anything, it would be just low-level bureaucratic nonsense, and Walton Goggins would play the devil.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, that's I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Actually, yeah, I would. That's such a dumb phrase. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Well, then they must not be your worst enemy, is it? You would.
Yeah. You kind of
anything.
You like him just a bit.
Yeah, anything. Just scorched earth. Just absolutely. I would wish all of the bad things upon my worst enemy, because that's how I feel about them. Really, truly. That's.
Yeah. I will say the one upside to the whole like COVID way of doing things is the feeling of having to wait in a DMV has been replaced by make an appointment to go. That's nice. Much better.
Yes.
The whole getting a ticket and waiting done away with. That should be a permanent fixture.
It might be.
I wouldn't be opposed to it. Like, I hope, working from home options are a permanent thing.
Yeah, I think that's sticking around, at least for the companies who care about the people who work for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's I certainly don't miss a lot of what the pandemic has likely changed permanently. Have you started going into stores without a mask?
Yes.
Isn't it the weirdest thing?
It is.
It feels like you're doing something wrong.
I know. And it's, I get it. I'm sure it's, because for a while my philosophy was, well, if the people working there still have to, I'm going to still have to. Especially when like the first CDC thing came out of like, you don't have to, but a lot of places still had signs up that you had to. But sure. Yeah, we're entering the stage where stores are like, if you're fully vaxxed, you don't have to.
Yeah.
And I'm like, then I'm not going to wear it.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel better when I see employees also not having to wear them. Because I'm like, okay, good. You're free too.
Yeah. No, I've only just started seeing that. Like Walgreens has been only if you're vaccinated for a while now. And the guy who works the counter there, all the off hours I go, he just stopped wearing a mask. I'm like, all right, good for you, Steve. You're fully vaccinated. You're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that's it's just because you're surrounded. Because at least a lot of people in Chicago. I don't know what it's like elsewhere. I guess in less urban populations, but a lot of people are still wearing their masks, probably because it still feels wrong not to, or excuse me, or just out of social conscience. I refuse to believe that many people aren't fully vaccinated, but that's neither here nor there. When you're around that many people who are still masked for whatever reason, it just feels so weird. It feels so wrong. Like like you're one of those people, but I'm not. Yeah. I did I have the card. I can do this. The Daddy CDC told me I could.
Papa Fauci said yes.
Papa Fauci said yes.
I don't know when people started attributing paternal or maternal monikers to figureheads, but now I'm, ironically calling people, Papa or Daddy, and I'm like, this needs to stop because I don't believe in the parental figures being government officials. That's dumb.
Yeah.
But I'm still gonna do it.
I feel the same way. It's strange. It's a weird a weird phenomenon. But thank you, Daddy Fauci, for telling us we fully vaccinated people makes being a 5G hotspot worth it.
It's yeah. How is that connection working out?
Not so bad. it tickles sometimes, but that just means I'm under load. A lot of people with phones around me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have a 5G phone, so I haven't reaped the benefits.
I think mine's capable of 5G. Whether or not I actually use said 5G is uncertain.
Yeah.
I also don't use data half the time, so.
Well, there you go. Yeah. I'll probably end up getting a new phone soon. This phone's still good, but it's not getting software updates anymore. And if the Pixel 6 is worth anything, then I'll probably upgrade to that. See, the problem with all the Google phones is that they haven't... Their cameras have just been... They keep putting the same cameras in their phones. And it's just... It's so boring. And, like, just upgrade... They were able to get away with it for a while because their software was ahead of everyone else. But now everyone's caught up. And now they need, like, another breakthrough in camera technology. Otherwise, they're going to lose to the iPhone. So... Because the iPhone is killing it camera-wise.
Yeah. It seems like they have the upper hand when it comes to cameras, and a lot of people will switch for the cameras if they're not married to their phone's interface.
Yeah. So we'll see. It'll probably come out in October, along with the iPhone 13. Probably skip a year on the iPhone. They just keep churning them out.
It's
too many of them.
Incremental changes that cost as much as an apartment.
Exactly. Yeah. Ooh, it comes in purple and has a magnet on the back of it now. Holy moly. Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, galaxies come in purple too.
Yeah.
They're just little chill dudes.
Have you ever considered spray painting your phone?
They make painter's tape. Spray your phone. It's not that bad.
Duh.
Actually, I'm pretty sure there are like Instagram videos of people spray painting their phones. So.
Well, yeah, don't knock it till you try it, I suppose.
I will knock it.
Oh, okay.
And won't try it. Specifically because I know how much phones are worth and I'm not being gifted them.
Yeah.
To wreck them.
And spray paint a case and then put the case on.
Do that.
Same thing. You can even
cases are $15.
Yeah. They'll even print pictures on them for you. Just go crazy.
Yeah.
It's a solved problem.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good to be back.
Yeah.
It's good to be back talking about technology, pop culture, and corn syrup.
As we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of corn syrup, who gave us money this week?
Well, Lauren, thank you for asking. We've been talking about a lot of moving. I personally, this past week, used U-Haul, which is kind of ironic because this week we've been sponsored by... I have the paper here somewhere. Here we go. We have been sponsored today. Steamy Pile has been sponsored by iHaul. That's right. If you call me up, I will move all of your goods to any place in the contiguous United States. This isn't the sponsored segment talking anymore. This is Tucker. The sponsored segment is proof that he'll read anything on air, no matter what the paper says whatsoever. Banana squirt. Nipple twist. I'm getting paid to say this. I have to say these things. Doo-doo fart. Okay, never mind. I'll give them their money. I'm sorry. I don't vet these before I get them. I'm sorry. I just take their money. I only spend a little bit of it, right? I don't know what we spend it on because this is like a zero cost podcast and you see none of that money, but like I need to vet them a little more, and I apologize that I don't mean to draw the curtain back all that much, but this one was unacceptable. iHaul, if that's your real name, see me after class.
I have a feeling that there's a listener out there just hearing you read that nonsense is going to have a very good evening.
I forgot him to say doo-doo.
This has been Steaming Pile with Lauren and Tucker. I've been Lauren.
I have been Tucker.
And we'll see you all next time.
to go make myself another smoothie.